And now for the game over scene. New scene. Save as. Make sure we're in the right spot. Inside scenes. Game over. Exactly. And now we're going to want to have a script. We're going to script this. So I'm going to go on my scripts. This is the easiest way to get it in the right spot. Right click on it and go create JavaScript. And we'll call this game over GUI for graphical user interface. So that's going to go on the main camera of our game over scene. And now we'll launch it and monodevelop Unity. Delete this and do some programming. We're going to have three variables, one for the background image, one for the game over text, and one for the shadow text. So var background is going to be, we're going to do this through GUI styles. Var, the next one is going to be game over shadow. And game over text. So notice the colons and semicolons at the end of the line. So this is a variable called background. That's our name choice. We called it background. We could have called it whatever we wanted. Of type, the colon means of type GUI style. And GUI style turns blue, as does var, because they are reserved words. Var means variable. GUI style is a type of object, which is a graphical user interface style, which has fonts and font colors and stuff like that. So we're going to use a pre-made function called, we're going to make it on GUI. And our on GUI function is going to make three things. Function requires open brace, close brace. And what it's going to make is GUI.labels. And a GUI label requires at least a couple of things, like a rectangle and text, and it can also take in an image, which we're going to give it as well. So first we're going to make a rectangle with RECT turns blue. It's supposed to be blue, it's not, so a capital RECT, yes. So a rectangle takes a starting position and an ending position. So an X and a Y, like if this were our rectangle, an X and a Y up here, and an X and a Y down there. So we'll start with, just for argument's purposes, 1010, we'll go 1000, 1000, see what that looks like. That's the first piece of information that the label needs, and the label also needs text. Well, this is the background image first, so it won't have any text, and then the background image itself will be controlled by the GUI style that we're calling background. And then we'll do another GUI label on top of that. I just type L, it's the only thing that comes up, so I go enter, and it gives it to me correctly. Rectangle, and then this one, let's move it in the middle a bit. I don't know, 200, 200. And the second number, or the second pair of numbers actually doesn't matter, because when we do text, it's going to depend on the font size. It's going to start a certain place, like 200, 200, and then however big it is however big it is. Simple as that. And what is it going to be? It's going to say game over. And that is going to be controlled by, or actually let's do the shadow first, because the shadow will be in behind the actual words. Game over, same thing, slightly different place. We'll move it a little bit further. Where do we want the shadow? Off to the right and down, let's say. So 205, 205, slightly offset. That's going to make it behind, so actually 195. 195. We're just playing around with the 0, 0 is all we need here, 0. And it'll also say game over. It has to say exactly the same thing because one's a shadow and one's the text. Game over. And copying and pasting is always a good idea, so you make sure that you're consistent with with your variable naming. And that's it. So we can drag that onto the camera if we haven't done it so far. And if there are no errors, we go build all, it'll be happy. And it is. This is just a warning that always comes up. I'm not sure what it means. But, yep, so that looks good. And we should see these three variables. That's the other thing. We should see these three variables back in the script. And we do. And you'll notice that the variables here don't have spaces, and they shouldn't have spaces, and they do start with a small letter. But over here, for some reason, they split them up into the words. So they're all GUI skins. And then the next thing we're going to need to do then is add basically images and fonts. So the first is the background. That'll take the image. It takes an image called splash screen, game over splash screen. And that's that for the background. That's all we need to do. All sorts of things you can do, of course, with these GUI skins. But what we need here, since it's going to be font, is a font. It's going to be text, so it needs a font. Oh, a font color too. So let's go into normal, text color, and an orange. That's the shadow, so it's going to be kind of a dark orange. How about a darker color. There we go. And then the game over text, its text is going to be the foreground nice orange. There we go. And the same font. Okay, that should do it. So we'll test this, see what it looks like. Pretty ugly. So first of all, we want the image not to be at 1010, but at 00 to start. And we want it to stretch across the screen. And all screens are different sizes. We're going to use a little programming trick here, where first of all start at 00. And then we're not going to go 1000 pixels. We're going to go the screen. It will pick up from the operating system to screens width. There it is. W gives us width. And screen height for the Y. Yeah, that'll work. Perfect, and perfect on all screens. And then we'll move this over into the middle. So we'll take the screen width divided by 2, and then subtract a little bit, about half of what that would be. So I'm just going to copy. So screen width divided by 2, because we want it in the middle. But then we have to shift it over a bit. 150 should be about right. Divided by 2. Shift it up, which is minus, because 00 in these sorts of environments is up here. So minus is going to shift it up. And I think a little bit more will look nicer. Let's see. So that should have fixed up just about everything. Yeah, we didn't do that. So this is the shadow. It is too high up. And then we need to move the text itself over the shadow. But the centering was just about right horizontally. So up too much, about 100. No, I'll try 150. And then these same values roughly for the text itself, which goes over the shadow. Only that needs to be offset a little bit so we can see the shadow. What do I want? Again, we want the shadow maybe over to the right a little bit more. So, 48. Let's just try this and see what it looks like. And if I didn't go the right way, then I'll change my numbers the other way. It's just barely a shadow there, but that's what they were intending. That's not bad. So we'll go with that. That's the game over. Now we need to add this to the build settings. Go add current, and it's in the right order. And save it. Go back to the game. And we're going to want to die 4 times, which will take a long time. So let's go to, I think it's level, no, it's player. that has lives. And I've already reduced it to 1 in my dry run, and you're going to see that that actually doesn't do the trick for some reason. We've got to die twice. Okay, so you'll see that when we go down to 0 lives, it doesn't. But if we die one more time, there, it works. It takes us to the game over scene. So there's something wrong in one of the codes someplace about the number of lives, which I'm sure we'll fix later on. But that's the game over scene.